All right, here we go. Let's get rolling. All right, here we go. Lesson 8-4. The last lesson in chapter 8. Wrapping it up today. Solving two-step inequality. No different than lesson 7-4 when we solve two-step equation. Okay, we just now have two-step inequalities. All right, we'll start off easy here. Three x plus 2 is greater than 17. What's the first thing we want to do? Inverse operation. So we're going to subtract 2. What's that property in the green called? Come on, you got to know these things. Michael. Very good, sir. The subtraction property of inequality. Okay, again, it's not going to be about a week and a half now. It's not going to be about just finding the answer. You're going to have to know a few of these things. You're going to have to know some properties that we've gone over. Okay, so after we subtract, we now have what kind of an equation in the blue? Come on, you should be able to recognize these rather quickly now. What kind of an equation is that in the blue? No. Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Multiply, right. Come on, you should know these, right? It's multiplication. To undo that, we divide. What's the 3 called here, Zach? Shh. No, what's the 3 called? 3 has a name to it. Shh. You're not Zach. Come on. Well, you should. We've been through two chapters now of this. Grayson? It's called the coefficient. Okay, again, there's nothing new in there from 7-4. It's just the inequality sign. Okay, then of course we're going to have to graph, because we graph all inequalities. Why do we graph all inequalities? Anybody catch up on that yet? Why do we graph those? I never said it. I'm just curious whether you... Michael? Okay, that's not why, but it's good guess. Think about what you're doing at the check. Come on. What does the line mean? You telling me you can't figure out why we graph these? Why do we do this right here? Because our teacher said to. No. Come on, what does this represent right here? Michael? Okay, so when we did chapter 7 in equations, how many solutions did we have, children? We had how many? We had 1. Why are we graphing it? Because the graph shows us, Masa? All of the solutions, right? All of them. Oh, nobody picked up on that. It's not good. Okay, the reason we graph it is we're showing, hey, all of these going in that direction are solutions. Okay, and to Michael's point, pick one and make sure that it's correct. All right, moving right along. N divided by 2 plus 11 greater than or equal to 12. Trying to get the variable by itself, we're going to apply the subtraction property of inequality. When we do that, we get n divided by 2 is greater than or less than 1. What's the step in the green called? Bless you. What's the step in the green called? Because they like this question on the test. Grant? Okay, it is. Yes, that's correct. What are we multiplying by? The reciprocal, right? It's a fancy word. They want you to know that for some reason. Okay. Those cancel out. 1 times 2 is 2 over 1, which is just going to give us 2. Okay, and my guess is, as I told you before, there's one day that's a calculator day, there's one day that is not a calculator day, and the non-calculator day is when you're going to be hit with all these definitions and properties. I don't know if that's day 1 or day 2. They vary it up from year to year, but at some point, what do we got here? Closed dot on 2, going to the, which way we headed? Going to the right. Bless you. All right. You good with all those? Yes? No? You want to see more? Everybody good? Okay, because there's nothing in there that's new. I mean, okay, now we'll get to the good stuff. Might want to write these down. These are the ones we struggle with. I'll give you a minute to write that down. The figure is not up on the board yet, by the way, just to let you know. Bless you. All right, you got that? We ready? Bless you. Everybody good with that? All right, because I got to switch the screen here. All right, so here's what the figure looks like. Please draw it. All right. Mouse it. Knock it off. I don't know. It'll come back. Something with the Wi-Fi. Okay. All right, you got any ideas here? We have to, the directions that you just wrote, where we want to find the area of the figure, which is at most 600 squared centimeters. Now remember that at most thing was one of the things that was most often missed. So if you know which direction, if it's at most, right, we know 600 is the total. At most, does it go that way? Is it 1 or is it 2? What do you think? See, this is where we struggle. At most, it can be equal to, right? At most, so we know that it can be equal to. So now we got to make sure we got the other sign going in the right direction. Okay. I see a bunch of 2s. You would be correct. Okay. That's the first thing that I would do when you run across these figures. Okay. Because remember back in chapter 7, we talked about finding the total, right? They always give you the total of something that goes on one side. Okay. The expression goes on the other. Okay. So we've got that taken care of. So now on the left side here, we have to come up with a 2-step inequality to figure out the area of the figure. Well, it's not as easy because we don't have, I'm going to draw something that's not here. You don't have to do this, right? We don't have something that's a complete square or rectangle, right? So in essence, we have 2 separate shapes, do we not? Yes? Right? Okay, so how do we find the upper rectangle? How would you find the area of the upper rectangle? Michael? That is correct. All right, it's 18x. You've got to break this down figure by figure. Okay. How do we find the area of the bottom rectangle? Okay, 25 times 15 is 375. I'll do the math for you. Are we going to add them or subtract them? We're going to add them, right? Since they are together. Okay. So there is your 2-step inequality with them giving you that the area is at most 600 squared centimeters. Okay, from here, the math should be all the same. You shouldn't have an issue doing that. We get 18x, and that would be 225. At this point, we have a multiplication equation, which means we need to divide by, oh, Zach, what's the 18 called? There you go. Try not to fall asleep, please. X is less than or equal to, 18 goes in there, 12 and a half times. Okay, so what they're saying here is the value of X, right, which I will highlight over here or box in here in my, right? X is less than or equal to 12 and a half. Does it, right? Doesn't mean the only answer is 12 and a half. Okay, it can be less than that. Does that make sense? Okay, so when you get these figures, you have to break them down by figure, right? One figure is going to give you one step, the other figure is going to give you the other step. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try another one. Same set of directions. I'm not going to write the whole thing, but this one is at least 200 square feet. Okay, same set of directions. Okay, the area of the figure is at least, in this case, 200 square feet. Write a two-step inequality to represent the possible values of X. Okay, this is what this figure looks like. And that's all they give you. Now, I've seen trapezoids. They'll throw triangles on there. Okay, they'll make multiple steps here with a semicircle and a rectangle. Okay, first thing is, let's take care of this issue. Okay, so we have 200, right? So at least, is it going that way? Here we go again. One or two, what do you think? At least. Some of you aren't, oh, there you go. All right. Very good. It is number one. Nice job. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit interesting because we have a semicircle. Okay, what I would always do is, it's what I think Michael or Max or whoever gave us the answer to the last one. Start with what's on the figure, right? How do we find the area of the long rectangle? Max? Yeah, right, 16x. Always start with what you know, okay, or what they give you. It's the easiest thing to do. Okay, from here now, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, and again, you can use your cheat sheets for this because you might need them. Oh, why didn't that show up? Going on the fritz here. What's going on? Here we go. Okay. No idea what's going on. All right, so now we have to find the area of the semicircle. Uh-oh. Who remembers that? Zach, you remember what it is? Pi times. pi times radius squared divided by 2 because you have a semicircle. Correct. So the math should look like this. So you should have 3.14 times 8 squared divided by 2. Might want to write this stuff down. I'll do the math for you, but okay, now what do you think the most common mistake there is? The most common boo-boo? You forget to divide by 2. That is correct. It's a semicircle. Okay. Remember, there's no formula for that. Everybody knows if you're going to take half of something, you divide it by 2. All right, so here we're left with 16x. I'll do the math here for you. Okay, when we do this, we get 148 hundredths. And of course, we know at this juncture, we're going to subtract 148 hundredths. And we're going to be left with 16x is greater than or equal to 99 and 52 hundredths. Divide by 16. Zach, what's 16 called? There you go. And we're left with an answer of 6 and 22 hundredths. So the height of the rectangle can be 6 and 22 hundredths, or it can be larger than. Okay, obviously, I think the two-step equations aren't going to be a problem. Okay, however, the figures that you're going to encounter might be interesting. All right, everybody good? That's what you're going to encounter today. Okay. So in lesson, I'll let you get started there in lesson 8.4. I'll put it back up. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's a little delayed. Okay, so in the book, we're doing 5 to 25, the odds. Okay. And down below, 10 through 19, we're doing all of those. We're not skipping any of them because we need to. There's a couple word problems on there and there's a couple picture problems.